More now on the tensions in Ferguson, Missouri. The state's Republican lieutenant governor has criticized how the Missouri governor, Jay Nixon, has handled this situation. He told a radio station the governor has appeared tentative and sometimes weak and sometimes confused. And he said the governor should have called up the National Guard several nights earlier than he did. Governor Nixon, seen here, is a Democrat. In Missouri, voters can elect their governors and lieutenant governors separately. They don't need to run on the same ticket. In this case, they clearly did not. Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, who is a Republican, joins us now. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, thank you.
Thank you for having me on, Shep.
I'd like to play for you again what the governor said tonight in a prepared and written a statement that he read for the people. Listen.
10 days ago, a police officer shot and killed Michael Brown in broad daylight. We have a responsibility to come together and do everything we can to achieve justice for this family. A vigorous prosecution must now be pursued. The democratically elected St. Louis County prosecutor and the Attorney General of the United States each have a job to do. Their obligation to achieve justice in the shooting death of Michael Brown must be carried out thoroughly, promptly, and correctly.
Justice for the deceased family and a vigorous prosecution. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, isn't it possible that there might be a need for justice for this police officer? This police officer, Darren Wilson, who has said now that he cannot even leave the house. This police officer whose case seems to be that this deceased man at one point went for his gun, then ran, then turned and charged him. Is it not possible that the justice should be for that police officer or has this already been decided and we're not aware of it?
Well, Shep, it's really heartbreaking to see a man elected to an office that high in our state government, the chief executive of Missouri state government, come out with a statement like that does prejudge the case. I've been asking for everyone to step back from a rush to judgment. Our governor is a lawyer, Shep, now more than 30 years. That means he went to 3 years of law school, took a legal ethics course, took criminal law and criminal procedure, passed the bar, and then practiced. He was 16 years our Attorney General, twice elected governor. So 6 times he's taken the oath of office to defend the Constitution, including the Bill of Rights of the United States of America and the state of Missouri. And that means justice for all. That means justice for everyone. We have a legal process that's set up to ensure that. It involves the impaneling of a grand jury, which will sit for the first time tomorrow. Just as you and I and the governor were not there on Saturday afternoon, the 9th of August, when this awful incident went down, we will not be sitting on that grand jury, and it would be wrong for a prosecutor to say what the governor has said here tonight, and it's wrong for the governor of Missouri to have said it.
Mr. Lieutenant Governor, I want our viewers to understand. I spoke with the press secretary for the governor tonight, and he said to me, among other things, quote, "I don't believe there is anything to be corrected," quote, "we stand by this statement," yet at the same time said to me what he meant was justice in the case. What he meant was if there is evidence that it should be presented. But on KMOV and KTVI and the rest of the television stations in St. Louis tonight, the governor's speech will no doubt be heard. And what the governor said was there should be a vigorous prosecution in this case. And what the governor said was there must be justice for this deceased man's family. And further, one of you, you're a Republican, he's a Democrat. And is this political feuding between the two of you, you speaking out against him and one speaking out against another in the midst of this chaos in Ferguson, is that helpful?
I'm trying to do my constitutional duties here, Shep. I took the same oath he took to defend the Constitution of the state of Missouri and of the United States. And that means, I repeat, that means justice for all. I'm not going out of my way to shoot at him. I have spiked my guns on many things that I could have said this week. I do believe that we should have had a curfew earlier. I do believe that it should start earlier in the evening before midnight when he had the curfew on for just those 2 nights.
Mr. Lieutenant Governor, listen to what a spokesman for the police union had to say tonight to our Megyn Kelly. Listen.
I'm very disappointed to hear those words coming from Governor Nixon. We welcome a vigorous investigation. Unfortunately, justice needs to go both ways. Darren's been vilified in the press and by politicians, with minimal facts being made public.
Minimal facts made public. And here from our Judge Napolitano to me on the phone tonight regarding Governor Nixon's statement, it is a, quote, rare, crude, and highly inappropriate. No grand jury should be meeting in the midst of this volatile and dynamic situation. The decision to prosecute must be a sober and not a political or reactionary one. Is it too soon for this grand jury, Mr. Lieutenant Governor? It is very soon, and tensions are very high. And is there not a great deal of pressure on the men and women who will serve on this grand jury, the men and women who heard the governor's statement potentially tonight? Is there too much pressure for a grand jury to be meeting at this moment in this time?
Well, Shep, I might have an opinion on that question, or I might not, but it's not going to be my call, so I'm not going to opine on it. That's the call of those duly constituted authorities. Right now it is Prosecutor Bob McCullough, elected 4 times by the people of St. Louis County to be their county prosecutor. He is the guy who has the decision on, I'm not sure you're aware of this, he could have prosecuted on his own.
I am aware.
Without taking it to a grand jury. Missouri differs from some other states. He wisely, in my judgment, elected to take it to a grand jury. That means the people of St. Louis County will have a say, the people who are impaneled on that grand jury. That is a safeguard for all concerned in our legal process.
A Missouri state senator has said if there is no indictment, the unrest that we've seen in the streets of Ferguson will pale in comparison to what is coming. Is that not another push on this grand jury? I only ask these questions because I am the farthest thing from what I'm doing is trying to take sides. Would never do such a thing. I have no idea what happened there. But it seems to me that there's no way for anyone to really know what happened there except the people who were there. One of them is dead. Other of them are people who say they were eyewitnesses. And from my 25 years of experience in reporting, eyewitness accounts are often wrong. And the other is the police officer who pulled the trigger from whom we have not yet heard. And yet a state senator has come out and said, if there's not an indictment of this police officer, the action in the streets will be worse. I wonder who is in charge and whether any of this serves the public good.
Well, the heated rhetoric does not serve the public good, Shep. I've tried to shy away from that and just say, look, if you're going to institute a curfew, it needs to start before midnight. I've made suggestions like that. But the heated rhetoric about demanding an indictment, about demanding a vigorous prosecution, is frankly disgraceful. It is not helpful. I am not going to make that decision. Governor Nixon is not going to make that decision. The prosecutor is in place. The people have elected him to do that. He is proceeding to take it to a grand jury in the proper legal process. More than that, you and I who were not there can't say at this point, Shep.
Indeed, we cannot. The Lieutenant Governor of the state of Missouri, Peter Kinder, on the line with us late tonight. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, thank you.